Welcome back. It's the Big Blue Banter New York Giants football podcast. I'm Dan Schneier, joined as always my co-host Nick Falato. And Nick Falato, is it possible to have had a better start to the preseason for Giants first-round rookie Jaxson Dart than the one that we're watching right now?
I don't know, man. If you would have told me this was the start, I would get really excited. We have 82 people in the room. We're not even 30 seconds in. This is a Saturday night. We're talking football, baby. We're talking preseason football. Let's go. I'm amped up. No, this is great. Yes, it is preseason. We want to temper expectations. But with that in mind, Dan, this is exactly what we wanted to see from Jaxson Dart. A surgical, a clinical type of performance, just carving through the New York Jets, scoring touchdowns on the deck, throwing touchdowns to Greg Dulcich, checking at the line of scrimmage, hitting Dante Miller based on the defensive leverage, doing a lot of different things that you don't really see too frequently or too often from rookie quarterbacks. He seems very comfortable. He seems very poised, and there's a lot of excitement around the New York Giants, and it's just great to see to have winning vibes and to see some quality football, albeit it is in the preseason. We need to see this translate into the regular season, but let's revel in it while it lasts right now.
Surgical, clinical, those are two adjectives to describe what we watched tonight. Some football adjectives that I would use, Nick: on time, poised in the pocket, full command of the offense, and they're running. And I love that Brian Daboll is giving him so many of the options that worked for him at Ole Miss. Why not? This is what good coaches do. Let him play no tempo. Let him play up tempo. Let him play no huddle. Let him have those like outlet passes, those quick hitters on the outside. And my God, we'll talk about this throughout the night. But that third, I'm most impressed. Like, there are so many good throws to talk about. The Dulcich touchdown, the throw to Montrell Washington over the middle of the field. We don't use the middle of the field. We haven't used the middle of the field as a passing game in years. But that third and fourth.
There's a middle of the field?
There's a middle of the field to throw to? My God. In the intermediate range? My God. But that, and we did occasionally hit like the play action dig route, but like we're talking about out of the gun. My God. But man, it's that 3rd and 4 conversion, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later. That's the one, that one to Turbo on the outside. That's the one that was like, holy crap, this dude is in command of the offense. This dude is in total command of the offense. So very exciting. As we filibuster time here to wait for people to join the stream, though they're probably getting in now. Nick, I do have one thing I want to bring up, and this is something that I feel like you'll relate to in some way, shape, or form. I bought this brand new Giants shirt. I thought it was really cool. I went out to the store. I bought it. I thought it looked cool. It feels good. It's good material. Dude, I bought this like 2 days ago. First of all, it's wrinkled. And I never took it out of the thing. So first of all, I'm not happy with that. Like, they didn't fold it up good. But second of all, dude, I've never seen this happen before. There's a freaking stain on the shirt. How crazy is that? I bought it. I wore it anyway. I ripped the tags off. I'll just wash it. Like, it's fine. But like, I've never seen that happen before in my life. So I was so excited to wear this on tonight's show, Nick. And that was a little dampened. My excitement got a little
sure these
dampened.
weren't happy stains from watching Jaxson Dart?
Dude, I mean, it would make sense. I just put it on after the show. I just showered after the game. So no, it would make some sense that would be the case, because you say full 3.9, but you always give me too much credit. I was a full 3.6 after that Russell Wilson bomb. We haven't even talked about that Russell Wilson bomb yet on the post of Collins, because Dart is the story, man. But let me ask you a question. Have you had a moment like this in the last, I guess, since we started this podcast, not including the Tampa Bay game, not including that first game, after that first Tampa Bay game for Jones? Have you had a moment where you got up and went, yes, or like, whoa? When Russell Wilson made that throw to Beaux Collins, I went up and I was like, yes, I was excited. I was first time in so long, Nick. I was really genuinely excited about a Giants play, and like let out an excitement, let out a noise of emotion, of a happy emotion.
Especially how it happened, right? Because you had 2 consecutive runs, right? One was a 2nd and 8. It was a duo run, and Tyrone Tracy Jr., like, his name is going to get buried because of Dart and because of Russ, but he had a phenomenal game with some of those runs. He had 2 just great runs. He had that 2nd and 8 conversion, and then they set up the play action, and I see Russell Wilson hit his back foot, pocket immaculate. Great pocket. He has time. He just bobs, and I see him just lob it. And I'm like, oh, the safety's probably going to be there, right? No, Beaux Collins outruns Andre Cisco, who's a damn good safety. I like Andre Cisco's game, but that was a really poor play by Andre Cisco. And Beaux Collins runs underneath it. He doesn't get in. That's neither here nor there. But man, yeah, I was very excited to see that. And yes, there was an interception on a similar play. You know, the moon ball giveth, the moon ball taketh away.
Well,
But
that
I'm
was
not
looked
too
like a
concerned about
miscommunication.
that. It was a
Yeah.
miscommunication. Exactly. I'm not
The
going to
player who probably won't play much in the regular season, we hope.
Exactly. I'm not going to hold Russ's feet to the fire for that. But the fact that he has the gumption, Dan, and the desire to throw deep, that's what we've wanted for so long from our quarterback, is just somebody who has their stones to just throw it deep, dude, and take the shot and give your wide receiver a chance. And as we said last week, this is Beaux Collins he's given that chance to. It was little Jordan Humphrey last week that Jaxson Dart was given the chance to.
True.
Well, guess what? We have Malik Neighbors on this freaking roster. Think about that. If he's healthy, boom, boom, we're knocking on some wood, and we're going to have some good times, I hope.
We should have some good times. I hope too. It's the preseason. We don't want to make too much of this. Obviously, you know, some people have texted me after the game or responded to me, Nick, and said, remember, Jones had an amazing first preseason. And I get that. I understand that. But it's not just that, dude. There's so much that goes into it. First of all, the Giants' pass protection looks night and day from anything we've seen. Is this another game with no sacks? We had no sacks last week on like 1,000 dropbacks. Did somebody take a sack tonight?
Yeah, there were some sacks. Jameis took a big sack, and then Jaxson had a sack as well.
Jaxson had a sack. I don't remember. For some reason, that Jaxson sack is escape. Oh, the one where he's trying to escape?
Yeah.
Does that go down as a sack?
I think that could have been like a 60 or 55 yard.
Oh, it was Joe Burrow. Remember Joe Burrow against the Giants last year? That was a Joe Burrow lane.
I love how you and I are on the same page, because that's exactly what I said. I was like, oh, that's the Joe Burrow play. But James Hudson just a little
Dart
bit,
was housing that thing for like 50 if he just doesn't get his foot. That would, oh my God, the hype would
coverage,
be crazy if Dart housed a run too in this game. But there's so much to talk about. But yeah, the offensive line, dude, the pass protection on all of the series with Dart and Russell, even with Jameis at times, there were some moments, but like especially the first team offense in the first half. In general, in the first half, the pass protection night and day. Dude, Nick, like I've thought for years that, and it's been confusing to me, why the Giants have gone with the quarterback rooms they've gone with the exception of Tyrod Taylor. They haven't had any aggressive throwers on the roster, and they haven't had any big time downfield throwers on the roster. It's been very weird. Now they have those guys, a really deep quarterback room. And I tweeted about this, Nick. The Giants threw for over 400 yards passing in this game. Every single one of the Giants quarterbacks, they combined to average 10 yards per attempt in 6 seasons over their last starting quarterback. In the last 6 seasons we've had to watch, they average just 7.0 yards per attempt or higher one time. We're talking about 10 in this game. It was over 8 last game. This stat is my favorite barometer for the passing game success. Yards per attempt. Are you actually moving the football when you drop back to pass the ball? And with these aggressive throwers on the roster, Nick, they're actually moving the football again. And even you talked about it. That third down by Russ, or we didn't talk about this one yet, but that third down by Russ that he attempted to Wan'Dale, I love that too, because he had an underneath option on that. He didn't take that thing. He went for that throw to Wan'Dale. And, you know, Carl Banks and Phil Simms on the air, I'm sure you were listening to that broadcast as well. We had 2 options. We had the CBS and the NBC, and no offense to my parent company, CBS, but I'm not going to listen to Mark Sanchez and whoever the hell else that was, when I can listen to Carl Banks and Phil Simms, to be quite frank about, and Bob Papa, to be quite frank about that situation. But I thought Banks and Simms did a great job of breaking that down. They didn't like the route depth by Wan'Dale, and they didn't like that he didn't come back to the football. But even then, he still got his hands on the ball, had to make that catch. But I just love the aggressiveness by Russ there.
Yeah, Russ, the flat route drew the underneath defender, and that opened up the window. And Russ knew that was going to happen based on the coverage. It was really just a phenomenal play by Brandon Stevens, peeling off the vertical route and then driving through the catch point of Wan'Dale Robinson. And I'm not here just to bash Wan'Dale Robinson, but these are the issues with Wan'Dale. He has literally, and I'm being literal here, the smallest wingspan of any wide receiver that's ever been in the NFL. He's a 0 percentile wingspan. And what's going to happen with that? You need to be, as a quarterback, precise with your ball placement. And Russ was there. That was a well-placed football. Wan'Dale Robinson extended for it. It looked like it hit him in the hands, and Wan'Dale anticipated the contact from Stevens, and then the ball started slipping out of Wan'Dale's hands. Remember last week when he had that catch on the sideline that we all applauded him for? It looked like he almost dropped that one too. There was just no corner within his range to knock the football out. So that's one issue with Wan'Dale, but we all know Wan'Dale can also offer the New York Giants a bunch if you get the football in his hands and allow him to do his thing.
Yeah, small hands, small wingspan, and bad reach are all a factor with him. I think he was in not maybe 0 percentile, but he was in the 9th percentile for hand size, which is not good. We don't have to talk about this just yet. We'll circle back to this because it's more on the negative side and there's too much positive to talk about. But I'm wearing real thin with the idea of Wan'Dale Robinson in this offense because I don't really think we need the yak from him when we have a player like Neighbors on the roster and even Slayton personally after the catch. So I don't know if it fits anymore. I know
I'm not there. I'm not there. I'm not on the same page with you there. I do think Wan'Dale has a very valuable role in this offense. It's just little things like that need to get cleaned up. And it is a lot of things are going to fall on the feet of Russell Wilson being very precise with his ball placement. And we also know Russell Wilson is more of an outside the numbers type of thrower, as we've seen all preseason. He's not really targeting the middle of the field too much unless it's very deep like we saw today where he can just lob it. And that's the thing you love about Russ. Russ hits that back foot in the moon balls. We talk so much about the moon balls, Pauls, but he allowed Beaux Collins to run underneath that, right? Like when Russell Wilson released that football, it's not like Beaux Collins was wide open. Andre Sisco was in the middle of the field, but he's like, I'm going to put it all the way on the far hash, and I'm going to allow Beaux Collins to run underneath it. And that's something we haven't seen from a quarterback since Tyrod, really. Tyrod did that on those 2 Darius Slayton plays at the end of the 2023 season. And I think you tweeted this, Dan.
Okay.
That was the best throw I've seen since that Tyrod pass against the Rams in 2023.
Correct.
From a deep perspective, that was a very a high quality pass from Russell Wilson. You all right there, bub?
Yeah. Give me 1 quick second and filibuster for a quick second.
Yeah. I got you. So, friends, how are we doing? Dan's not here anymore. It's just us, guys. What do you want to talk about? We want to talk about Jaxson Dart. We want to talk about Russell Wilson. I don't want to see people talking about this in the comments. I don't really want to talk about the Abdul Carter play. That's a welcome to the NFL moment. And if we know anything about Abdul Carter, I think he's going to internalize that. He's going to be like, all right, that tight end wants to chip me. I got to pay attention to these tight end chips. I'm not going to allow myself to get chipped by this tight end. And I'm going to wreck these tight ends when they try to chip me. That's what I'm hoping Abdul Carter does after that play. Because that play was rough to see, the Abdul Carter one.
Oh, it was. Okay, we're back. Do you know that reference?
Yeah, I do. Yes. It's the Pope, right?
It's the Pope. Not my best impression. I've had better. I've never done a good Mike Francesca. I've tried to, but I've never done a good one. But yeah,
you just said Francesca.
Oh, I did do that. That's on me, Francesca.
That's a rough one. Yeah,
the man.
All good, buddy.
But I did want to touch a little bit on the Russ stuff before we moved on past that. I know we were talking about a Abdul Carter play. We'll get back to that. There's a lot on the offense I want to actually get to before we even turn to the defense. I think most of the story tonight was the offense. But with Russ, man, like you mentioned it, he's not going to really attack the middle of the field unless it's a post. And on that one, he really understood space well. Like you said, I thought you did an amazing job breaking that down, Nick, and we'll have a further breakdown on the all 22. Let me just say one thing even before I get into that. First of all, hit the like button right now. If you're watching this and you're with us, we need your help to juice this up the algorithm. Click like now. Click like now. Dun, 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 dun. Click like now. That's a real bad impromptu song I did, but I need you to hit that like button and leave a comment right now. Just click just like and comment, and that's all. And just keep doing it every time you see this. Share it if you can. Subscribe. We need your help. The second thing I wanted to say though is he understands space in a really good way. Now, with that said, I thought despite the breakdown of the Wan'Dale throw being on Wan'Dale from Sims and Banks, I do think it wasn't the best throw from Russell Wilson. And I thought he flat out missed the Hyatt throw later in the game. I thought Hyatt had a nice release on that slot vertical right after he caught that comeback. And we'll talk about Hyatt. I want to, but I thought he had a nice release on that vertical slot vert. And Russ kind of had a lot of space and just kind of, I don't want to say airmailed it, but just put a little bit too much under it. So I didn't really think it was the best game from Russ by any means, but obviously he gives you those big plays and that's what we're here for.
Yeah,
you're muted.
How long and how many times? I'm not muted right now. Can you hear me?
You're back. Yep, you're back.
Okay, yeah. My computer is just slow sometimes. I got a lot of tabs opened here, but yeah.
Order on those tabs.
Yeah. So no, I don't do that. I don't mess with that kind of stuff, bro. I do not mess with that kind of stuff. But yeah, no. The Jalen Hyatt release, the 21-yard gain. That was a nuanced route that we're talking about. That's what we want to see from Jalen Hyatt, him working into the blind spot of the cornerback and then throttling down. And I never thought he was the smoothest wide receiver, getting in and out and throttling down at the top of those breaks. I don't think he's bad at it, but I don't think it's his strength. He's much more of a speed guy. That was his that was what he was known for all throughout college and going into the NFL. But that was a very nice nuanced route where he worked into the blind spot, throttled down at the right time, got the cornerback to flip his hips and turn around, and then Russ delivered the football right on time there.
Yes.
And I agree. It wasn't the obviously the interception. I think that's more on Beaux Collins and a miscommunication. No, yeah. And there are certain things about Russ that will hold this offense back. But we've bitched and complained for years about the lack of explosive plays. And that's, if Russell Wilson can do anything for you, it's create explosive plays on the outside. And the Giants have playmakers to secure those. So for that, I am excited, and we'll take it, drive by drive, play by play, game by game when it comes to Russell Wilson. And hopefully Jaxson Dart continues to develop and we start to see more and more from this kid, because he's very exciting. And if Russell Wilson has a down game or 2 down games, the media is going to be a buzzing if Dart continues to develop as we've seen.
Yeah, and I thought you made a great point that I really thought Hyatt did a really good job getting in and out of his break and throttling down on that reception, man. He looked smooth on that. And I think with Hyatt, when you're a defensive back and you're matched up with Hyatt on the boundary, you have to respect his speed. You know his speed. You know who he is. You know the scouting report going in. And that's just different than what it will be, in my mind, with Wan'Dale Robinson on the outside, to be quite frank about the situation. And I'm not worried about the slot, Nick, because I think Neighbors should be in the slot a lot. And Neighbors will be a nightmare for defenses in the slot. I think Slayton can line up in the slot if I need him to. And so I just think about it, man, and we'll talk about this more throughout the week. This is going to become a big talking point. He obviously needs to stay healthy, Hyatt, and he needs to be practicing more. There's issues that I don't know about off the field, but I like what he offers. And that slot vert too, I thought that was a really nice design by the Giants. They had the play design in my mind, so it's almost a guarantee he's going to get that free release on the outside of the slot vert. If Russ can put that ball in the money, we were looking at another 65-yard touchdown there, because Hyatt had space, and Hyatt, when he catches the ball, is housing that football, unlike some other players maybe on the roster, on a lot of rosters, to be honest. So just something to keep in mind. I'm going to be monitoring that one. We're going to come back to Dart. Dart's like the story of the night, but I want to give him a full due. I want to work through the roster before we do that. So I want to talk about receivers in this game that we saw out there. And I think the one we got to start with here is Beaux Collins, dude. Beaux Collins had a phenomenal camp, and he played pretty damn good tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you start the game off with an 80-yard touchdown. I'm just like, get in the end zone, buddy, but he couldn't get in the end zone, but it doesn't matter. The Giants end up punching it anyways. That was his only catch on the night, and then he had the 3 targets. One of them was an interception. But the fact that he's rolling with the first team to start, it says something, especially since he's missed time in camp, right? He missed a week and a half. Now he's back and he's running with the first team, and it's not secured yet. He still has to prove more. We still have one more preseason game to go, but yeah, so far the Giants, I think they wanted this 6'3", 6'4" type of wide receiver, and now they have it. I don't know how many snaps he's going to earn when the season rolls around, if he makes the 53, right? Because it's going to be a lot of neighbors, knock on wood, hopefully Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale, hopefully Jalen Hyatt earns a bit. And and then Montreal Washington's that other UDFA guy that he had that nice catch over the middle of the field, and he didn't have any glaring drops like he did last week against the Bills. So I think that camp battle is going to continue to be interesting, but I do believe the Giants want a big physical type of receiver, and Beaux Collins fits that prototype.
He fits that X receiver role they need, and just something they don't have on the roster. I think he fits Russ's skill set pretty well, a lot better than some of the receivers maybe he's competing with, just because of the size that he offers. And I'll say this, just a lot of receivers, like Montreal Washington, you talked about that catch. That was a difficult catch. Jaxson Dart did a great job of putting it on the inside shoulder, which is what you want, away from that defensive back. But it's still a tough catch to make in traffic there and to hold on to the football. I thought a player who I've, been excited about, but hasn't really flashed as much as I hope, Juice Wells, had a really nice move on that rollout play from Jaxson Dart. Just some exciting depth in this. Cambry, I mean, we had big plays from Cambry in this game, but I want to talk about some backs tonight. I want to talk about one back specifically, Dante Miller. And I would say, Nick, of all the players who played in this game tonight, that was the one that was the player that got my friends who text me about the Giants during the games, shout out Ian Gold, shout out Adam Mazer, most excited. Because for Ian, he was like, he follows the Giants closely, but it's been a rough few years. Like, he's not as into it as he's been. Wow, I just have a fan over here that I need because it's so hot and it keeps falling. I have it propped up. We'll deal with this later right now. I'll just sweat and we'll deal with that, Nick. But he's the player who people text me like, who is this guy? Because there's serious juice when it comes to Dante Miller. Yes. I think he offers something on this roster that our other backs don't, and I think he should be a lock for this roster.
I 100% agree with that. And this is something we saw a little bit when he was a rookie last year. in preseason, and Dan's dealing with his fan situation, but I'm going to continue to talk about Dante Miller. And chat, please either refute or agree with me here. When Dante Miller gets the ball, I don't envision him being a physical guy, and I'm not insinuating necessarily that he is physical, but when there's a first down to be had, I just feel like he falls through contact and is crafty enough as a runner to get that first down. And I've seen that through the Bills game and then into this Jets game as well when it comes to Dante Turbo Miller. Look, I like Devin Singletary. I think Devin Singletary is a good runner of the football, and I want him on this team. But last year, the Giants had a guy like Eric Gray on the team, right? Why not just have Dante? Like, Eric Gray is going to probably start on the pup, and he probably won't see the field. But I think the Giants have to find a way to get Miller involved. And the fact that he is a special teams asset and he is a kick returner, I think that bodes well for his chances to make the 53-man roster. And not just that, like, yes, the reason why he makes the team will be that special teams, but I think the Giants can design like 2-3 plays maybe for him, depending on how many plays the Giants offense has, or maybe even just one big play. And he's the type of individual where you get the football in his hands and he can make one guy miss and he's gone, because there's no one really on the Giants roster in the running back room who has that type of juice at Dante Turbo Miller. Like, he lives up to Turbo. He lives up to his nickname very well.
And has looked good and natural as a receiver of the ball too. Like, that's the other thing. He offers that too. And when you get him the ball in space as a receiver, he's another weapon in that regard as well.
And then, like, when you look at what's going on with Scadaboo right now, we don't know.
That's
so, like,
thing,
that really opens up a pathway for that. And Scadaboo's a rookie, and he's missed a lot of time, and he has these issues in pass protection. They might want to try to bring him back slower, because remember, before the Scadaboo injury in training camp, he missed 2 practices with that injury of the hamstring. At least presumably that's what it was. They brought him back a little early, and then he re-injured it. So why would the Giants not bring Turbo, especially with all the work that they're giving him? And not only is he receiving this work, he's excelling with this work. So yes, I'm right there with you, buddy.
Yeah, it's all the things we already knew, the burst and his ability as a receiver in space, but it's also the key thing that you pointed out, Nick, which I think is most important here. He falls forward and he's stronger than people realize, and he runs with a good center of gravity. Like, he looks to me, Nick, like a complete back. I thought he was awesome tonight on the field. I don't think there's any way that he doesn't make this roster at this point. We'll talk about somebody else later who might not make the roster, who I want to make the roster, and I'll see your thoughts on that. But the reason I don't think that is because, and this is a shout out to Giants fan in Charlotte who tweeted a few things he was looking for. 1, Zudo getting snaps at guard. We'll talk about that. 1, Marcus Beaux getting snaps at left tackle. We'll talk about that. And 3, Turbo getting snaps as a gunner. And the fact that he is getting snaps as a gunner is really good sign for him moving forward. And I also still, I pointed this out a few podcast episodes ago, Nick, still think there's a weird out and unfortunate outside chance for us that Cam Scadaboo ends up on the PUP list to start the season. This is not a good situation. He has a hamstring injury. I don't want to say he rushed back, but he's a competitor. He wanted to get back on the field, went back on the field immediately, felt it. And you could see him at practice slam his helmet. Like, hamstrings are so tricky, dude. Remember Odell Beckham's rookie season, all the crap we dealt with there. Like, he didn't play until what was it, week 4 or week 5, because of looked like he was good to go, came back end of training camp, re-injured the hammy, and it was just a big problem there. So I think Turbo is in a good spot to make the roster. And for me, it's not just about making the roster, Nick, and being a game day scratch. He's someone I think should have a role on the offense.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. And just before we get into a little bit more Dart and some of that, I want to focus on I want to focus on the tight end position. Like, we saw that.
Can we do one more? Can we, before we do that?
Yes.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I want one more at running back. I want to talk about Tyrone Tracy. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Who'd you say?
Please.
Oh, who'd you say? Who'd you say?
No, I said, why would I want to talk? No, I'm not going to say that. But yes, Tyrone Tracy Jr. is who I want to talk about, because that duo run on the first drive and the 2nd and 8 that he picked up, it was him that so he worked that duo block, that combo block so freaking well. He approaches the line of scrimmage, slight stutter step. The linebacker has to get really tight on that defensive lineman, and he's trying to peek and peer. And you could see Tyrone Tracy using his patience and his vision to allow the, I think it might have been Greg Van Roten, to just peel off, get the linebacker, and then you see Tyrone Tracy Jr. explode into the alley where it's just him and the safety, gets the first down. That is a nuanced runner right there. And then later on in the game, I don't have the play in front of me, but it was an outside run where Tyrone Tracy Jr. played peekaboo with the defensive back coming down into the alley, and he forced the defensive back. And I think the defensive back was a little bit premature in his movement, but he forced the defensive back to jump to the inside, and that gave the angle to the tight end to just seal him. And that created the alley to the outside that gave Tyrone Tracy Jr. an extra 8, 9, 10 yards. That is advanced running right there. That is a smart running back. That is high football IQ from a player who's played the running back position for 2 years, right? Yeah. He was a wide receiver at Iowa. He was a wide receiver his first year at Purdue, right? And then this is his third year right now as a running back, and he has these type of nuances that former first and second round picks do not possess at all. So this is one of the reasons why I'm very excited about Tyrone Tracy Jr.
Kid on Cleveland. Oh, Trent Richardson.
Trent Richardson.
Made me think it. He's talking about like guys with horrible vision. Remember Trent Richardson, third overall.
Like DeAndre Swift has struggled with that. I think he's gotten better as his careers went on, but in his early years with Detroit. But Tyrone Tracy Jr., like, that's helping out. That's having your offensive lines back, right? We always the offensive line, are they creating holes? It's like sometimes like the running backs help the offensive line create holes, and it's a symbiotic relationship. And when you have that, that's going to maximize your ability to gain yards on the deck. And I think Tyrone Tracy Jr. is developing that trait right in front of all of our eyes right now.
Yeah, I remember like a month or two ago, Nick, I did a big cut up of film of Tyrone Tracy from his rookie season with the Giants. I put it up on Twitter. Just, sir, if you want to see it and you're listening now and you missed it, search Dan Schneier NFL and then Dan Schneier NFL space Tracy, and you'll find this cut up. And what I noticed most was these moments, they would happen once, twice, sometimes more a game of just elite vision, elite ability to set up the blockers like you talked about. That kind of patience and vision that he showed on these 2 runs tonight, that's not that. I almost kind of feel like it's natural because he hasn't played the position for a while. I said in the tweet, like, it's amazing that he has this kind of vision for someone who's only in his 3rd year playing the position. I feel like it's natural. And I feel like it's an insanely good trait for him to be showing right now because it adds, because we already knew coming out of Purdue, like, we're like, this dude was top 5 in yards after contact per attempt, top 5 in forced missed tackles. We see the stop-start ability, that ability to go from 0 to 60. And it shows up on those runs where he lets the block set up for himself and has the vision and patience to understand where to cut. That ability to just stop his momentum and then restart it, that's why he gets 12 yards on a play like that. That play should not have gone for 12 yards, in my opinion. I see tons of running backs run that right up into where the defensive back was crashing into and get 2, 3, 4 yards on it. Tracy turns it into 12. Really exciting. Now let's talk tight ends that you brought up, Nick.
Yeah, in a second, just because I have the Tyrone Tracy Jr. play right in front of me, and I can't wait to break it down on the All-22 in tomorrow's episode or Monday's episode, whenever we end up doing it. But what makes that even more impressive was there was interior penetration that he had to avoid. So he had to take a wide angle to start. Then he bounces it back to the inside on that play, gets those linebackers and those defenders sucked up, and it was good blocking on the outside. But how he explodes, just like you were saying, back to the outside to avoid all those rushers and to just secure that first down. That's just impressive stuff, man. It really is. Exciting stuff as well. Because the Giants offensive line, to me, they're not like I don't view them as a unit that's going to open up holes off their own merit. They're going to need a running back to assist them, as most offensive lines do, but they're not, to me, a top 10 run blocking offensive line. But if they can have Tyrone Tracy Jr. help scratch the back a little bit, then the Giants will be able to run the football a little bit, possess it, set up the play action, because that's where Russell Wilson will thrive. You're right about that. And I'm hoping they just won't be a bottom 10 run blocking unit. I don't know if that'll be a strength of ours. Nick, at some point I do want, commish powers on this StreamYard, because there are some comments that I see that I always want to throw up and I don't have the ability to do it. Throw up Crusha 718's comment right now, because it's so good and it's so apt. There it is. Jaxson Dart, handshake emoji. Dan Schneier, handshake emoji, changing arm angles. And we'll talk about that screen throw in a little bit. We'll get to Dart. We're going to circle through that. Let me say this before we get to another thing that Nick and I want to touch on, which is the tight end room. Really interesting conversation, I think, to be had there. If you're new to the show, 1, click the like button right now if you enjoy this. 2, share and leave a comment. 3, and subscribe. 3, the way we do these lives is we have super chat questions. And if you want to get your question answered, or if you just want to say a comment to us or say something to us, put in a super chat and we will get to it at some point in the show. Usually midway we do one, and then at the end we'll wrap up with more. But let's talk about that tight end room, dude, because this is where things start to get really tricky for me, Nick, because first of all, we're keeping 3 quarterbacks for the first time in a long time, though we did do that last year. Never mind. We had DeVito on the roster. I forgot. But we're keeping 3 quarterbacks, which takes away a spot on the roster from somebody else.
We also are hoping and likely to be keeping Dante Turbo Miller. I think he gets the nod first. And then that leaves us at this tight end room where we're super crowded and there's a lot of talent and players are flashing every single game, it feels like. What's your thoughts on the tight end room? What's your thoughts on Greg Dulcich, who looked really freaking good on that touchdown?
Yeah, so we always talk about Thomas Fidone and Greg Dulcich, and we mention them as if they're in a camp battle. But I think we gotta, and I hate to do this because he's an acquaintance of the podcast, put Daniel Bellinger's name in there. And a primary reason is through the last couple of weeks, we've talked about Nacho and how the Giants can save, I think, like $3.6 million on this year's cap if they release Nacho. But there's a dearth of talent in the defensive line room. Can you really let a veteran who is one of your gap specialists? I mean, I don't think he's a great run defender, but he's adequate at it at least. Can you really do that? Right. But the Giants are penny pinching and they need to because they're cap strapped. Well, you can release Daniel Bellinger and get $3.4 million on your cap with a not even like 198 in dead money, 198K in dead money. So it's basically nothing in dead money and you save a decent amount. And I hate to say that or insinuate that, but with Greg Dulcich here, with Thomas Fidone here, and the Giants have Theo Johnson, the Giants have Chris Manhertz, that might leave Daniel Bellinger out, who is in a contract year right now. And I think that's a conversation that we really need to start entertaining. And look, I love Daniel Bellinger's game back from his rookie season. We were big fans of Daniel Bellinger during his rookie season, but the Giants coaching staff haven't necessarily used him in the manner that they used him during his rookie season. And since he is in a contract year, and since you do have Greg Dulcich, I think it's a conversation that we should have as a fan base, that it's something that could realistically happen because of the money implications.
Man, I would hate to see it. Not just because Daniel Bellinger is a friend of the show and he's been on the show, but because I think he's done nothing to not deserve a roster spot. I think every time he's actually played in real games, and we've watched his all 22, Nick, he's been excellent, really, for what they've asked him to do. He's been sound in his blocking, his assignment. He's assignment savvy. He doesn't miss assignments, and he catches everything that's thrown his way. If you look at Daniel Bellinger's numbers through his career, his drop rate is insanely low. He doesn't miss a ball that's thrown to his way. I actually ultimately think, Nick, that they're going to cut Fidone and move him to the practice squad. And I'm not as sold as everyone else that Fidone is going to be claimed for a roster spot. I like Fidone. I see his upside based on his movement skills, some of the insane plays he made. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to lose Fidone. I like the upside idea of Fidone, but I also don't think that what round did we get him in? The sixth, correct?
Sixth, yeah.
I don't think a sixth round pick is going to make a 53-man roster after not practicing with that team all training camp, not knowing the system. Is a team really going to use a 53-man roster spot on him? I find that highly unlikely, right? So I think the Giants can probably pass him through waivers, get Fidone on the practice squad, and then keep Bellinger on the roster.
See, I would say yes if it wasn't the money thing. Like the money thing is my main reason. It's no indictment on Daniel, really. It really just comes down to, hey, we need some money and we can save it by moving on from him. And again, we'll have to see. Yeah. But as of right now, that's a conversation that's uncomfortable and sucks.
And Gianelli corrected us, and he's right. He was a 7th-round pick for Fidone.
Yeah, he was a 7th-round pick.
Yeah. No, and somebody says, why throw away 7th? We're not throwing it away, Jay Mazzello. We're saying we're taking it's basically like a risk play, right? We're playing.
I'm not saying that. Like I'm I'm
saying they could play game theory. They could say, who's going to claim a 7th-round pick for the 53-man roster if he doesn't practice with that team for the whole training camp? In my opinion, no one is going to do that, to be quite frank. And that's not a knock on Fidone. It's just the nature of the NFL. So I think you can kind of get him on the practice squad. Whether, with Bellinger, that wouldn't be the case. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I know one thing, Nick, I think we both kind of agree Dulcich is somebody that we don't want to lose from this roster, because it's not just that I think he belongs on the roster. I think he has a role in the offense. Russ has a good chemistry with him. It's clear Jaxson Dart has a good chemistry with him. It's clear that he's got great movement skills for the tight end position. I thought he put a great move on that touchdown. And I think all camp and all preseason, he's looked good moving with and without the football.
Yeah, exactly. It really does come down to, and where Bellinger has an edge over players like Dulcich and Fidone is blocking. And I have mad respect for his blocking, but we also know that Manhertz, that's his role. He is the blocking tight end for the Giants. And Theo is, I think, a high upside blocker with a ton of potential. So do the Giants value that. And also with the fullback thing, the Giants have been entertaining other players at fullback. They've used Dulcich at fullback on second team.
Baby.
They used Elijah Chapman at fullback, baby, during the Jets practice.
Good on that. He fucking rumbled.
He's a rumbler. He's a rumbler.
That's a good role for him.
But that's
don't want him in there at defensive tackle. I don't have.
Nah. Yeah, Elijah Chapman, he's fine in sub packages, man. But some of those running plays, and again, we'll confirm this all in the all 22 tomorrow or on Monday. some of those running plays on the first team, because the Giants don't have Dex out there, whenever they spelled Nacho and Roy Robertson Harris, they would put 94, Elijah Chapman, and DJ Davidson in there, and neither of those guys I have any confidence in when it comes to.
We'll talk about the run defense. I want to stay on the offense. I still think there's a lot to say there. One note that I do want to look back on the all 22, and again, just for those who are new to the show, the way we do this thing, we'll have a reaction podcast live like you're hearing right now, and then Nick and I will get a chance to watch the tape and then do a tape review. That tape review is most likely coming Monday morning this week, because I don't think I'm going to get the film released to me. The last week it was really slow to get the film, and so I'm probably going to have a chance to watch that tomorrow night instead.
And this was a night, and this was a night game too.
Yeah, I don't think they're releasing that anytime soon. I just based on the way I've been getting my tape. So once I get it, that'll probably be tomorrow night. Then we'll be ready for Monday morning. Just to give you an idea, we'll go through the film. Check out our page from last week, and you can see our breakdowns on Marcus Beaux, Jaxson Dart. They're pretty in-depth. You're going to get, as you're listening to the breakdown on the podcast, or if you're watching it on our YouTube channel, you're going to see the film as well. We're going to put up the all 22 angles, so you'll get to watch it with us and watch us break it down. Just one quick note there. But, Nick, I do want to see that third down play by Russ when he checked down to the back. I believe it was either Singletary or Tracy. It might have been Tracy. That was the one play I was kind of like, it was quick to check down there. I didn't love that. And he got hit.
It was Singletary. Yeah.
Okay, it was Singletary. I want to see what he saw and if there was any options there. It might have just been nothing open, but
he's very quick to check down. That's what Russ has been doing a lot. Like he'll confirm, be like, okay, the safety rotated over the top of the route. They have a cloud over top. Nope, I'm gonna check it down and let my running back. And there's a lot of merit to that. Sometimes you want a decisive decision like that, but sometimes if the defense is on top of it and they're expecting it, they'll rally and they'll tackle like they did on that one.
And it's just kind of the nature of quarterback doesn't really use the middle of the field as well.
Nancy Skinner.
Oh, thank you.
Salute.
I appreciate you shouting us out. And everybody in the chat. Chris Griffith says, do you guys think Evan Neal hype is real? Carl Banks has been sharing is real. We'll talk about Neal in a little bit when we get to the offensive line, Nick. Let's work through. We've talked receivers. We've talked backs. We've talked tight ends. We talked Ross. It's time to just bite the Band-Aid or rip the Band-Aid off and talk about Jaxson Dart. Bite it off. Just bite a Band-Aid off. Can you imagine that? Sick.
Dan Campbell over here.
Yeah, I'm a sick human being. Don't cut that up, please. Nobody clip that. But yeah, is it time to talk about Jaxson Dart, dude? Because if it is, I better get a box of tissue. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's awesome, man. Yo, Dart. Look, man. Again, preface it all. Preseason. Yeah. Vanilla defenses, second team. So you can, all of that context is very valuable. With that said, this kid is so far, this is exactly what we wanted to see from him. Like if you told Giant fans this would be his first two preseason appearances, you would be like, yes, sign me up for that. That is exciting. Yeah. And it also has an upward trajectory, right? Because it's developing and it's not even just the ball's coming out quick. He has answers to what the defense is throwing at him. Again, it is a preseason defense. It is a second team defense, but he has those answers. He has the toughness. He's the arm talent's there. There is velocity. He just seems to have all this shit together, right? He just has his shit together right now for a rookie coming from a Lane Kiffin offense. So he's checking a lot of boxes right now. And he has a long way to go. We're not putting him in Canton yet, but it's hard not to be excited if you're a Giant fan right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, it's like he feels the pressure in the pocket. He has great pocket awareness. He has great understanding of the timing of each play. That 3rd and 4 comes back to Miller on the outside. Dude, that's quick. That's working. Yes. His brain's working so fast to get back there. We texted about that play immediately. That whole drive had so many great moments, and his night has had so many plays that are going to get clipped up, bigger highlights, bigger throws. That's the one I'm focused on because that's the one that stands out the most to me for that reason. He's in full command at that point. I feel like he's been in full command of the offense. The play to Montreal Washington that you clipped and put up on Twitter earlier tonight, Nick, that was a zippy throw, dude. He put that in there. I was like, okay, Jaxson, you stuck that thing in there. And then also, don't give me that look, Nick. Don't make it just talking about the pass. And then obviously, as people have put in the comments already tonight, you know how I get about arm angles. That screen throw to Theo Johnson, dude. I mean, are you kidding me on that? The arm angle he found to get that ball out. And then not only does he get it through to the Theo away from the defender, but it's put in a spot where Theo can turn upfield and get another, 20, 25 yards after the catch. It's unbelievable what that means. And I've said this on Twitter and I'll say it again. our whole life we've been like, oh my God, why can't the Giants have a screen game? It's unbelievable. The blocking's bad. Was this the problem? The running backs is the problem. Blah, blah, blah. A lot of it is on the quarterback. Eli Manning was an over-the-top thrower. Eli Manning was not a good screen game thrower. We obviously know Jones was a horrible screen game thrower. We don't need to go over that again. Jaxson Dart could be an elite screen game thrower because he can change that arm slot and get the ball into spots where these tight ends or running backs, whoever it may be, can turn up field like Theo did, and Theo looked so athletic on that play.
Yeah, I know. And he ran through the tackle, stumbled for like an extra 9 yards. Yeah, man. Jaxson Dart has like a loosey-goosey type of arm, man, where it doesn't have to be. It's not rigid. It's not robotic, right? It's okay. I see that defender there. I can just like lean like a baseball player and Derek Jeter this football right into my tight end's gut and allow the tight end to take it up. Look, there's plenty of reasons why this screen game looks much more efficient and it's a much cleaner operation. One of them is certainly the quarterback.
No, just kidding. Also part of the Kafka.
Yes, the timing is massive, but it's also these, and I see it with the offensive line. They're so much smarter right now in hugging the line of scrimmage.
I'm so sorry.
What's
Clyde
up?
Frog's comment just destroyed me. Don't put it up, but just read
it. Yes. Why need issues when Dan's already?
I know what happened here, buddy. I bought this like this. Unbelievable.
Clyde Frog, that is a great South Park reference.
I just cut off a good point by you. That made me laugh.
No.
I got to stop looking. Go ahead.
No. The comments are on fire. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
please.
much.
You guys are crushing it right now. Absolutely. But it's these offensive linemen. They're not getting too far down. How many times did the Giants, when they run an RPO with Daniel Jones, and this wasn't necessarily Daniel's fault. Sometimes you hold on to the football too long, but I'm not sitting here casting aspersions at Daniel right now. But where the offensive line would get too far down the field and they would get called with an ineligible man downfield penalty. Like we've seen that a lot throughout the Dable era because the Giants run a lot of RPOs and sometimes screens. But on these screen passes, watch the offensive lineman. They hug it. They hug. The timing is great when it comes to just blocking, holding up for a second, allowing the quarterback to gain his depth, have the running back or the tight end or the wide receiver gain separation and get open. And then they break off and they hug. And then they wait for the catch to happen, and then they're gone, baby. They're gone. And that's something I've noticed all throughout training camp when I was at practice, and I've noticed through this Bills game and the Jets game. So
it's a great point.
That makes me very excited. Just like don't take those stupid
break
penalties.
That down on film this week when we do our film review. I want you to show the listeners what you're talking about because that was a really excellent breakdown by you and really in depth. And I want to see that. I want to watch it on the film with you, and I want you to show that because that's a great point. And I'm starting to think, Nick, that we may legitimately be a good, not just a team that like gets some screens off. We may become a good screen team. We may become a team that's now. I think we will become a good screen team when Jaxson Dart becomes the starter of this team. I'm putting that in a will. I'm keeping it as may for Russ. I'm not sold on Russ as a screen passer just yet. He's definitely better than Jones in that regard, and Eli in that regard. But I'll wait to see it on that regard. But I think what you said is probably the key factor there. The way you broke down how the offensive linemen are playing, that's probably more important than anything else in regards to the screen game. So great point by you. Very excited. Back to Dart. The throws we went over were cool. They were awesome. I can't wait to watch the touchdown throw on all 22 because I thought he did a great job after faking the flip of getting his lower half and his feet grounded to drive that throw to Dulcich. We'll see that on the tape, but it looked to me like he was in a really good spot from a footwork standpoint, from a base standpoint.
Great design too by Mike Kafka because again you had to pull Azudu, I think it was, right over to the front side of the play, over to the front side of where the toss would be, and that pull you can see the linebacker, he's reading his run keys, and the run key it's like, okay, I have this guard pulling, it's going to be a power run over to the other side of the field, so I got to flow over there, I got to scrape over the top, I got to get to that location to fit the run. And then Dulcich just slips right behind. I love plays like that, dude. The Giants try to play similar to Thomas Fedone against the Jets in practice, just like that. Big toss, Fedone, and then Dart just missed. A little bit of an overthrow on Dart's part, but he didn't overthrow it here, baby. He put it right out.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. He had it in practice, got the rep there, repped it out, and now came back and played it even better in the game for him. You usually see it go the opposite way around. It's easier in practice with no pressure. Trust me, as a golfer, I can attest to this, Nick. You'll hit it so damn good at the range. You go out there on the course, and you're like, what the fuck happened here? Sorry for cursing. Whatever. It's a cursing kind of show. We're excited. There may be some curses tonight. I apologize if you're listening around your kid. I do apologize. But yeah, you'll have that happen all the time, range to course, Nick. So I'm happy he went the other way for Dart. And I will say this, I thought Fedone could have got like 20 yards on that screen. I didn't like the path he took. Just a random note from later in the game. Do you know the screen I'm talking about? I want to watch that one on all 22.
Yeah.
I feel like he took a bad path there.
Clyde Frog's just on fire right now.
No, I don't even want to look.
Yeah.
I don't even
No,
want to
I'm
look.
going to bring Clyde Frog's going to get the first super nod. McFadden turned my 3.9 to a 2.6.
It was a rough game for Micah McFadden. It really was.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about the defense in a little. Let's save it. I still want to talk a little bit more about Dart and the offense. It's been a long time on the offense, but there's more to say. But we'll get to the defense. But that was the first drive, Nick. But the second drive, that was the most impressive one. That second touchdown drive, that was the one where the words that we brought up to begin the show, surgical, clinical. That's how it felt, dude. He was getting the ball out, hitting in breakers, boom, right on the money. Hits him on the upfield shoulder, hits him in stride, timing, ball out, anticipation, ball placement. Like that looked like a drive where I know it was a second team defense, whatever, right? Like we're playing backups. We have backups in on our side of the ball, but it's the fact that he was in that kind of command on that drive. It really looked like, honestly, unlike anything I've seen from a Giants quarterback in a really long time. Like we had some drives like that in 2022 that were like a mix of Barkley doing a lot and like an occasional bootleg throw or some shit like a run by Jones. But this was like all gun, all Dart, just kind of picking apart the defense.
That was the 3rd and 4 screen to Dante Miller that went for 12, I think. And then the 3rd and 4 play that we were mentioning before, where he read the defense, saw it was off leverage. Dante Miller was split out, was a mismatch against a linebacker who was outside the numbers, and Miller's going to take advantage of that from a speed and quickness standpoint. And I don't even know if the defense was really set. So Dart just hurried him up to the line of scrimmage, got the football off, and boom, Dante Miller was wide open. Convert, move the chains. And that's another thing I liked about what Kafka, and I'm sure Brian Dable had his input here, tempo with Dart, tempo with Jameis Winston. They were put like the Jets look like in this game, right? Like the Jets did not look good. They look challenged. No. They did not look great. And I mean, we'll get into the Giants defense in a little bit, but yeah, the tempo was something that I really appreciated. Just the fact that they're able to turn that dial up. And then when they sense like, oh crap, man, we got this dial turned up, they can't handle it. Well, we're going to go for the kill shot now. And the Giants were able to do that successfisfully.
Yeah, you're right. And is there anything else? And that's a good point. Like, right. Like give Dart what he likes, let him run tempo. It's some of the stuff he did at Ole Miss, but is there anything else offensively before we get to defense? Do you want to maybe break to do super? Let's wrap up offense, do some supers, maybe not all of them, and then do some defense. Yeah,
we could do that. But I do want to talk about Evan Neal a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We haven't even hit the offensive line. Yeah. There's a lot to talk about from this game.
Show, baby.
It's crazy. Jam-packed.
Yeah, no, with Evan Neal. So when it comes to the offensive line, it is a little difficult to watch it from the broadcast angle when you're trying to evaluate a lot of different things. That's why I really appreciate the All-22. But I saw some quality plays from him. Now, I wanted to ask you this. I saw it going around Twitter. The play where Jaxson Dart got like annihilated and it was an incomplete pass down the field. That was Evan Neal. Was it a swim move? Like, how did Evan Neal lose that? Was that Evan Neal?
That rep. So I saw it being discussed online with Art Stapleton. I think Bobby Skinner were going back and forth on it. I think it was ultimately Neal's miss, but I need to watch that one back on tape or at least rewatch the broadcast. I don't want to speak on it.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that he's just in there with the first team, there was a couple duo blocks where I saw him get hip to hip. Because remember, the duo, you get hip to hip with your homie. He got hip to hip with John Michael Schmitz. And then I just see him look to his left, penetrating linebacker, boom, just puts his shoulder into him and just eliminates him. Like, now you didn't deplete him like Abdul Carter got depleted, but he was sound with a lot of those duo blocks. And that's like what I'm most excited about when it comes to Evan Neal is him and duo, forming the double teams and then just stonewalling people, because that's what he can do very well. He has that and he has the anchor. It's just him in space is problematic. So, I mean, I'm going to reserve my overall judgment on the offensive line and Evan Neal specifically until we get that all 22. But yeah, Dan's struggling.
I've given up on this fan.
Yeah, no, the fan's done, bro. The fan's
devastating.
It's cooked fan right there. But yeah, overall though, the offensive line on the ground, again, they're not like opening up a ton of holes or anything. It doesn't seem like there's some space, but I do think Tyrone Tracy Jr.'s rushing ability really helped them out. But that's sometimes like what you need, right? Like that's it. I don't think the offensive line played terrible is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, at least from a run block standpoint, I think pass protection wise, they played really, really good.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Those pockets, man, off the play action too. Like Russ had seconds to throw the football. Seconds. No Andrew Thomas. Seconds, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And no Andrew Thomas, right? And it's not even with Thomas yet. Neal's an interesting one. I agree with you. Like the whole idea of Neal being in the game gives me excitement because of what you said, like the opportunity in duo runs and just what it can mean for as a run blocker. But I don't ultimately know that he's tracking right now to be in starting. Like if we if we had to guess right now, it's almost definitely Van Roten. I think he's kind of fallen behind Neal, even though he did get some reps with, mixing in tonight. So we'll see what happens there. How about Marcus Beaux? I mean, look, for the offensive line, we're probably going to want to wait to see the tape, but pretty cool to see him get some snaps at left tackle, and he looked pretty good out there.
He does, yeah, but I do want to reserve my judgment. But dude, he looks like another thing. Like Beaux, like I said a couple weeks ago, like when I saw him with all the other offensive linemen, he looks smaller, right? Not playing like that at all, dude. He plays with an edge. He plays physically, and I've talked with Marcus Beaux. He's calm, nothing seems to phase him. The moment is not too big for him, and that's the exact temperament that we want in our offensive linemen. Especially if they get beat, they can just store that thing away and then just next rep, live to fight another day. So I'm excited to watch him on the All-22 as well.
Another player that we'll get back to you guys on. I see somebody asking a question in the comments, Chewy Riff. We'll get back to you on Azudu getting some guard snaps. I'm definitely excited that he's getting guard snaps. I don't understand why he was ever playing tackle. So we'll wait to judge that from watching the All-22.
Absolutely. So I think let's get through a couple soups, right?
Do some soups.
Let's get some chicken soups.
So hot here. Give me 1 second to try to fix this fan. You read.
Dan does not need soup, apparently, because he can't figure out the fan. David Goodman, thank you so much, says, I am irrationally excited about this team. I can't believe Dart is playing this well so early. Can't wait for the film breakdown this week. David, I can't wait to do it. Look, film breakouts, they were arduous in the past, right? I got to sit here and break down this offense. I know what they're going to do. Oh, it's 3 and out. Oh, they ran this. Oh, they ran this play. Oh, it was a throwback. And guess what? Intercept. Hopefully we're done with that. We're turning the page. We're entering a new chapter here with the New York Giants. And we got Russ. There's some quality film there. And I'm very excited to see what Jaxson Dart was able to do. So I'm right there with you. David Goodman, thank you so much for the super chat. H50 Pharaoh.
It's broken. I've been propping it up, Nick, because it broke earlier in my life, and I propped it. It's a nice fan, but it broke earlier in my life, and I've been propping it up, and now it just broke again. It's all over.
Yeah, you're going to be, sweating this entire – you'll be –
Should I take my shirt off? Just kidding.
No,
all right.
you're you know what? No, I'm not even going to say that. H50 Pharaoh, thank you so much. Do we start Russ, then trade him before the trade deadline if Dart is ready? Love the show. I mean, I could see a scenario where like Russell Wilson might want to go somewhere else. It's hard for quarterbacks to get traded and then just ingratiate themselves into a new locker room and a new playbook. Like that is a lot. Injuries happen, and Russ is a professional. And if there is a quarterback who could do that, maybe it is Russ. But there's still so many variables until then. Right now, I'll just handle it, game by game. Even like I said before, play by play, drive by drive.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a situation where that would happen, Nick. It's so rare. It's so hard for me to imagine a team mid-season trading for Russ. But the bigger question, which we'll talk about throughout the next few months,
Pittsburgh. Giants have a relationship with Pittsburgh, and say something happened to Aaron if Aaron went down.
The system. That's a good point.
But they like Will Howard a lot, though. It seems like, at least. But who knows?
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay.
Jason Benjamin, maybe Beaux and Lil Jordan make the final roster, make the final look good. Or maybe he's talking about the final preseason game. But yeah, I mean, Lil Jordan, he had a couple. Did that one ball go off his helmet?
I don't know. That's the second time, 2 weeks, that I feel like that there's been those kind of opportunities for receivers that they didn't come down with. I couldn't really say. We'll have to watch that one again on the All-22.
Jason, thank you so much. Again, says, to me, Russ was late to Wandale. Ball to
some people have said that.
I thought so too. I did. Okay. I thought so too. Yeah. But again, All-22. I would like to see. Sean Sullivan, thank you so much. Do you think Collins could take some of Wandale's snaps? I think Leak could take slot snaps. Hyatt maybe take some snaps as well. Look, I think there could be packages for Collins and red zone, especially maybe some third downs if he continues to progress in his own right. I think the Giants may look at mismatches. If the opposing team has like a 5'9" cornerback, you could try to get him isolated on him and just win jump balls. But I don't think he's going to necessarily steal snaps from Wandale Robinson. But I could see packages where Wandale's off the field and Collins does come in.
I think that's fair. And I think ultimately for me, I think there could be a scenario where Hyatt gets more run than we're expecting right now in the regular season. That's how I'm looking at it, at least. I'm not as high on Wandale right now. I need to see more. I need to understand where he's going to help this team. I know in space, but I don't know necessarily if we need a player like him right now in space.
H50 Pharaoh, thank you, says, there are hard decisions to be made. A wide receiver, tight end for cuts. Do we trade Hyatt? Did Banks play? Banks did not play. H50 Pharaoh. Do we trade Hyatt? I mean, I don't want to.
No
Like,
one's
what are you going to get? What are you
anything.
going to get for Jalen Hyatt? Especially if you're trading him around the cut day, everyone's going to know. Like, the Giants may be able to swap like 7th round picks or something like that. So I'd rather just retain the former Biletnikoff winner and hope to get something for him. And especially if there's like bad blood, I'm not insinuating that there is, but there's rumors and stuff that the Giants and Hyatt don't see things eye to eye. I just it's hard for me to weigh into that because I don't know what's real and what's bullshit when it comes to it.
This is an interesting comment I just want to bring up. Someone said from Brownie said catch radius makes it almost impossible for Wan'Dale to contribute. It's not a bad point, but it's something that they kind of should probably consider before drafting him. But he still can contribute. We've seen him contribute. Like, he makes good plays over the middle, though Russ doesn't really use the middle of the field, and he's good after the catch. But I feel like this point's interesting, Nick. Thagomizer, U235 says, a lot of the things that Wan'Dale can offer the Giants, Turbo Miller can kind of offer them too in space. It's kind of just an interesting thought.
Yeah. I mean, Wan'Dale's a real route runner.
He's a real route runner. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, I think the Giants went for him because Dable wanted his Cole Beasley and looked at Kadarius Toney and probably talked to Kadarius Toney and was like, I don't know if Kadarius Toney is going to be able to be my Cole Beasley. So we're going to go with Wan'Dale. And I think they love this toughness and all that other stuff that we've talked about a lot over the years. Brian SV9, thank you. People might not agree, but Jaxson Dart reminds me of Tony Romo. Just a great feel for the game. I don't think that's a terrible take.
Funny. It's a very, very interesting take. And I've referenced him before. I think you met him once at the March Madness thing, Nick. But my friend Ian Gold, who was a former college quarterback, he played at Illinois, texted me today and he said that was who he reminded me. He said, this looks very Romo-like tonight. And I have always been a huge believer that Tony Romo was a lot better than most, of course, than every Giants fan thought and said. I think a lot of that was to defend Eli, and I respect that. Like, you want to defend your boy. But people underrated the hell out of Tony Romo. His quick release, the fact that he got the ball out, those arm angles he threw from. The one thing I will say, though, that about Dart that I want to see from him that's not Romo-like yet, or just that we haven't seen. I'm not going to say it's not Romo-like. We still haven't really seen a lot of downfield throws from Dart yet this preseason. We've seen some attempts outside the numbers that have been incomplete and kind of high and not.
The touchdown, obviously, but
touchdown. We saw the one touchdown, obviously, but I'm talking about like Romo would sometimes anticipate like real good deep shots to Dez and even before that to T.O. So it's the one area I'd still want to see a little bit more of personally.
Yeah, and Romo was also he had a bit of that Russell Wilson thing where he could like run around in the back of the pocket and really
Dart may have that.
Extend plays. I think Dart does have that. We haven't really seen it yet, but I do think Dart does have that. Jason Benjamin, Turbo adds a dimension. Yes, I agree. Jason, thank you so much again. Turbo adds a dimension we don't have: sudden and fast. The running back position. Yes, yep. I think Tracy is sudden, and I think he has speed, but he doesn't have that type of explosiveness. And I do think Miller has a different level than Tracy does. And Jason also
certainly earned a roster spot. If they're just going by what we've said before, like remember we've always said, Nick, since we started this podcast with Dable, it's like what was the word you always use about like I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Like when we were talking about how Sills was getting time over Tony. There's a word you always use. I'm forgetting now. It's like basically to say like the best man plays. It's not about the contract. When Galladay wasn't playing.
Yeah, it was merit
based.
Meritorious.
Yeah, maybe. It's a Nick Falato word. We'll come back to it. But
gotcha.
Yeah, but I think the fact that he has run a merit based team leads me to believe that Turbo belongs in it will make the roster because he deserves it on merit.
Yeah, I know. And then Jason Benjamin also says Neal looked comfortable at guard as well. Yeah, no, I mean, I want to get to the all-22, but I'm excited to watch it. Pharaoh, thank you so much. Dart is the steal of the draft. He already looks better than Caleb, May, Penix, JJ, Nix, Ward, Sanders. Wise beyond his years. I hope, man. I'm not going to say that, but it's good vibes right now, and that's all we can ask for from this rookie quarterback.
Yeah, and man, if he is the steal of the draft, we are in for another 5. We are in for 5, 10, 15 years of amazing podcast and fandom.
Oh, yes, absolutely, dude. I would love it. Man, make me like a 90-year-old doing this podcast, man. Like, talking about like quarterbacks down the line, dude. Janelli, thank you so much. Great work this summer, fellas. You think Juice Wells proved himself at all today? Juice Wells is going to be a practice squad guy. I mean, I liked how he had the 2 bubble catches off the RPOs, and then he almost got into the end zone on that other one, and then Dart ended up punching it in. But like Wells doesn't really have a shot at making this roster right now.
No.
Cliffside, thank you so much. You think those runs happen tonight with Dex in there? I don't, but I want to probably watch it and see exactly how they manifest and materialize or whatever. But Dex is such a force that he occupies so much space and commands so much attention that it would really make Micah McFadden and Bobby Okereke's job a little bit easier. So I would say no. And we'll get into the defense here in a little bit. And maybe I'll read this next one, and then we'll get into the defense.
Yeah, let's do some D.
Jason, yeah, I'd rather lose Manhurts than lose Fedone. I don't think his blocking is so great that he needs a roster spot. Belly, Johnson, Dolchik, Fedone for Final 53. I love Chris Manhurts. No, I'm a big Chris Manhurts guy. But yeah, I mean, that's also something that you can consider as well, because I mean, I think all of this should be in the conversation. I don't know if the Giants can save anything if they got rid of Chris Manhurts, because he signed like a really short deal again, like it's a 1-year contract. I don't think it would really affect the cap too much, but I don't have those numbers in front of me.
I think ultimately, like, regardless of how you feel about the situation, Jason, or any of us feel about the situation, Manhurts has a defined role on this roster and a defined role in the locker room. I don't think Dable has any interest in cutting him. I think there are plays the Giants trot out there, these 12 personnel packages, where they need him. They feel they need him on the field to execute the play. And they don't feel like they have that with the other players. I think Theo ultimately could maybe offer that, but probably never at the level of
and also when you're a duo, like when you want to run a lot of duo, which the Giants have been doing over the last 2 years, and really since Dable arrived, but specifically over the last 2 years. Because remember, like the first year with Kafka, they were counter. They ran a lot of counter back in 2022.
Bring it back. I love Barkley.
Yeah, and Bellinger was so good and exceptional at blocking and counter as the pulling, as the H-back, as that first kick out block, right? Or as the lead block too, I should say. But when you're a duo-based team, you really need a tight end who can block. Like you need a good blocking tight end, and Theo can do that. And I think they would probably want Manhurts to be that other guy, because he's basically like an offensive lineman, a small one, of course. All right, let's get into the defense, and we'll get into some more supers in a little bit. What were your thoughts, man? I thought Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau were just crashing down the line of scrimmage and making tackles. But the run defense is kind of where I want to start, because we really didn't get to see the pass defense too much. Justin Fields dropped back 5 times. He didn't get sacked. He had 1 completion. The defense seemed to shut everything down other than the run. Again, some of those long runs were with DJ Davidson and Elijah Chapman on the field, and hopefully neither of those guys see the football field. But the starters were Roy Robertson Harris and Nacho. And again, it wasn't the soundest run defense you'll ever see.
No, it definitely wasn't the soundest run defense. One quick note on the pass defense, we'll come back to the run defense. I did think they were overwhelming at times on those Justin Fields snaps, and exactly what I was hoping they would be on those on the 3rd and 10 and 2nd and 10 specifically. And you just have to get the ball out. But as far as the run, so that's a good thing, but we'll see more, hopefully, of the pass defense in the regular season. I don't think anyone's going to play this last preseason game, really. I'm not even sure Dart will play. It might just be a DeVito game, but we'll see what happens there. As far as the run defense goes, Nick, I don't know, man. It's not looking good. Like at any, like all 3 slews, like when it was the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, like at no point did I feel like the run defense was playing good. There were some moments they had for sure, some run stops where I was like, especially the first team, I thought where there was like, okay, that's a good run stop. But overall, I don't really know what the fix is for this run. It might just be as simple as get Dexter on the field. But
I think that helps a lot. Yeah. They had the 3rd and short stop, but then they just went for it on 4th down, and they ended up picking it up. Like I think Roy Robertson Harris actually had like a nice run defense rep there as well. But then the next play, they just kind of easily picked up the first. And Breece Hall and Braylon Allen is a quality rusher. He's a big back. Yeah, he's a big back. He's a good football player. But yeah, overall, I'm still concerned about the run. They haven't done anything to dispel my concerns, but we also haven't seen this defense with Dexter Lawrence out there. I did like seeing Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns against the run, crashing down the line of scrimmage. Just high effort players. I think the edge rusher, like I don't think Brian Burns is a bad run defender, right? Like people think of him, and I've said this in the past, people think of him as like this, speed rusher, finesse guy. I think he's got more pop to him than a lot of fans give him credit for. And not even just that, it's also the effort as a backside pursuit defender is exceptional. He never dials it back, and it sets a tone that I feel like others emulate, and that shit's contagious on a defense that is competitive.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's a good take. And I even thought there was the one play where Kayvon, or was it Carter and Kayvon maybe went free, or it was Kayvon and Burns? I don't remember who it was. Carter and Burns, free rush on Adrian Martinez, and he kind of just got the ball there. By the way, is that the same Adrian Martinez from Nebraska? Yeah. Holy crap. First of all, That guy at one point in his Big Ten career, not to sidetrack too much on this, was one of the worst quarterbacks I ever watched play football. Tonight, he looked kind of awesome at times. I was like surprised with some of the velocity he put on the throws, the timing, the ball plays. Like, this guy really worked on his craft. Good for him. Maybe he makes an NFL roster, but there were moments back to sorry, I just want to get that moment about the pass rush. Kayvon Thibodeau, I thought earlier in the game, maybe it was the first possession, the second possession, had a really good pass rush move that I can't wait to watch in all 22. So I want to circle back to that when we do watch the film. But run defense wise, the rest of the guys, I just think part of the issue for me, Nick, is I don't love the second level run defenders that we have. Okereke, McFadden. That's where I think a lot of the issues start for us.
McFadden missed one badly. I don't even know what exactly happened, but it was his hold fit, and it seemed like he either over pursued or someone got a piece of him, and it led to like an 8 or 9 yard Breece Hall rush. And I was like, oh, geez, that was not a great look for Micah McFadden. Overall, I think Micah has progressed well since his slow start here with the New York Giants when the Giants selected him. But I tend to agree. We saw a step back last year from Bobby Okereke. We need a lot from those guys, especially if the Giants' defensive line isn't as fortified as we hope. And I'm not of the belief that they're going to be, with Roy Robertson, Harris, and Nacho being the guys that we're heavily relying on. And then there's Darius Alexander, who, again, we'll see it on the All-22. I'll post clips if I can, so everyone can watch all of his plays. But I see 91 out there, and that's all I just see him out. I'm like, oh, 91's out there. Let's see what happens. And then, like, you don't really see anything. It's a very nondescript performance so far from Darius Alexander. But again, we'll confirm that on the All-22. And if we're wrong there, then I'll definitely backtrack it.
Yeah, and I worry. I don't want to say I worry, but somebody pointed this out to me on Twitter, Nick, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's interesting. He said that he's getting some Blake Martinez vibes from Okereke, and it's like, Blake Martinez had that unreal year with the Giants. We're like, this is like MVP level on film. And he just fell off. And it's like, Okereke had that unreal year with the Giants, that second year with Wink. And it was like, this is MVP level. And it's like, then did he fall off? And it's like, was he just a fit for Wink's scheme? And is he just not at all fit for this scheme? Is the problem that I'm not going to say the problem, but the thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, to be honest.
It's that. And it's also, what was it? A herniated disc he had? Like, that's, I don't know if he's still having adverse effects from that. And he came out of the game, like the final drive of the first team, he was out and Darius Musow filled in.
Right.
The Giants, I think, by the way. And Darius Musow filled in. And then Bobby Okereke went back into the game with the second team. I'm guessing maybe he had some stinger or something wrong with him, and then he ended up just going right back in. Again, I'm speaking out of my ass right now, but he did end up playing with the second team, maybe just to get more reps to feel comfortable, and because he missed that final first team drive. But I'm not sure exactly what happened there.
I don't know either, because he did come back in, so I'm not entirely sure about that. Maybe we'll find out this week, but I doubt it from somebody like Brian Dable. But I'm sure he's fine since he came back into the game. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I wanted to transition to the secondary, because Cordell Flott is a player that made a big PBU on Garrett Wilson. It was good coverage, the timing, it was well. He just played right through the catch point, knocked Garrett Wilson's hands down along with the football, and it just makes that battle between Cordell Flott and Tay Banks that much more interesting, right? Because Tay Banks, I mean, how many times can Brian Dable say, oh, if you're not available, it really hurts your chances to make the roster? Obviously, Banks is going to make the roster, but it also affects playing time. And with a player like Tay Banks, it's like, well, what the hell's going on with this guy exactly? Like, he's kind of been an enigma since his sophomore season last year. And I just wonder if Cordell Flott made enough of an impression to make Shane Bowen say, hey, maybe we're going to go with Flott over Banks. And I don't even know how I would feel about that. I think I'd rather go Banks personally still, but Flott can play sometimes as well. But Banks to me is still that high upside guy who I think is going to be sticky in coverage. But, you target him, he'll probably like, if the receiver is good enough, he's going to come down with the football. You know what I mean? Because he's not going to knock it down.
Because they're not going to, it's
going to that. Yeah.
First of all, on the Flott play, I thought that was textbook. Excellent play by Flott, playing through the catch point, his position, his body positioning, the way he broke on the football. I remember when I watched him at LSU, I was like, and that was always the thing with Flott. We drafted him so insanely young. We always had to remember it was going to take some time to develop him. But I was like, this kid flashes click and close better than a lot of the corners that I've watched in this class, to be quite frank. And in that range of the draft, better than anyone. So I was excited when we reached to get him. And I guess it's a reach just by like where the draft board consensus has had him. So I don't think like it wouldn't be a craziest thing in the world to me if Flott like breaks out this year, honestly, just based on I want to preface that by saying breakout, not meaning like he's now Patrick Surtain, like just like is a solid cornerback too.
Can he be Fabian Moreau for us?
Sure, that.
Yeah.
With that said, a day or two ago, Nick, you did post a cut up, and I got a chance to rewatch it and it's, we watched it when it first played out, but I got to rewatch it every single snap of Deonte Banks versus the Bills in the first preseason game. I thought he looked pretty damn good there. I thought he played pretty well, and I thought everything that if you're coaching him and you're watching that tape as a coach, you're like, this was good. Like, obviously not the play where he had his back turned, but like other than that, it's like, this was good. This is what we're teaching you to do. And you're in the hip pocket on a lot of these snaps. So it's going to be interesting. I'm not as concerned maybe as others about that. Again, I'm really just relying on our pass rush in a lot of ways to negate that. I will say this, though. I know you'll hate this. I did think that should have been called DPI on Paulson Adebo.
Paulson Adebo.
First drive.
So it's weird. And I don't know if I should think like this, but the throw was so bad that I'm glad it wasn't. You know what I mean? If the throw was a little better, and I know that has no effect on it, and it's kind of stupid for me to say that, but I do look at it and I'm like, that throw was so shitty. It was at Paulson Adebo, really. So like I'm glad that it wasn't. And I can obviously see why it would be called the DB. He did get there a little early, but at the last second, he does get his head there. Throw was terrible, so I'm glad.
Throw was terrible, so maybe they gave us a break on that one. But yeah, secondary, we'll see what happens there with that cornerback 2 battle. Flott obviously had a really good rep on that one snap. Run defense remains an issue. Sorry, go ahead. You got something?
Yeah, no. And I just wanted to, we'll go through the all 22, obviously, but like the Art Greens and the TJ Moores on that 2-minute drill, all those backup corners where it's like, oh, wait, who's that guy? Who's number 31? Like, who's this? Nick Jones and all these guys. They were doing a very good job tackling the Jets inbounds, right? Like they were like really aggressive. Like, okay, they surrendered the catch. Adrian Martinez was kind of dealing on that drive. And then they would just boom. Fucking tackle right in bounds, and then that ran the clock, and they didn't have any timeouts, and that's what forced the field goal. So I wanted to kind of give credit to the Giants back end guys who, because we look at it, it's like really what's happening after Cordell Flott. Trey Hawkins has been out, and he hasn't really done much since he's been here. I think Nick Jones has solidified himself as somebody who's certainly going to make the 53 because he's on a lot of first special teams units, and he has subbed in as the primary slot when Andrew Phillips was out. So Andrew, and he takes snaps on the outside. TJ Moore receives first team snaps, right? So like these guys, like I just wanted to give them their credit for making plays. And look, you're surrendering a catch, but you're making the tackle in bounds, and that's really important. If you make the mistake to surrender the catch, make the tackle in bounds, not allow them to get out of bounds, because that's going to keep the clock going. And all those back end guys handle that responsibility well. Good
point. Very good point. That was a really good situational awareness football by the Giants at the end of that. Anything else?
So it's just some of the comments, man. With these guys are great. You guys are great.
Which one specifically?
Arcus Beaux, M is silent, is going to be awesome at right tackle next year. That just made me laugh. It's just dumb, but it made me laugh.
Shout out Lou Sassel. Lou Sassel, big fan of you. You're always on these shows. You're on this one in the FFT. You're a true supporter of these podcasts, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody in the comments. You're making it fun. I have always said I want to make this podcast like a community. I want you guys in on the jokes. I want you guys, basically like Nick and I's friend, watching along with us and listening, again, your comments and your thoughts in. So really appreciate the comments. Remember, everybody, please hit the like button right now. Just click it and leave more comments and click it again. And again, if you want to ask us a question, leave it as a super chat and we'll answer it. Do we have any more supers we didn't get to, Nick?
Yeah, we have several. But yeah, I think we're done with defense talk, so we'll just get to the supers.
For now, we'll hit it on the all 22. We're going to go way in depth this Monday. You're going to hear it Monday morning. We'll go in depth with the all 22 film review of this game.
Jason Benjamin, thank you so much. Says, I'd rather lose Manhertz than Fedone. I don't think his blocking is so great that he needs a roster spot. Belly, Johnson, Dolchik, Fedone for final 53.
Yeah, again, look, I think that you may not think that, Jason, and I'm not saying that's not valid. All I'm saying is I don't think that's what Dable thinks. So to me, it's not a discussion. I think Manhertz is like a lock for this roster.
Yeah, I mean, he is missing time, though, so it's something to consider. But I'm a big Manhertz fan, as I said. And we might have already read that one, so apologies if that did happen. Gil Martinez, thank you so much, bro. Says, I know it's preseason, but I think Dart is seeing the field well and making good decisions with poise. But really, like Marcus Beaux, looks strong. Don't like golf, but I will like and comment. Yes, I don't like golf either. Nah, golf's fine. I just think it's boring. And I I have no issue with golf other than that it is a little boring and that people who are close to me in my life like it. And I'm an asshole who likes to just jibe them, really. That's kind of like where I'm at. James D, thank you so much. Bellinger is undervalued, in my opinion. I agree. He's a legit pass catcher. I agree. Above average blocker. I would say between average and above average. Yes. Not tipping your hand by which tight end is on the field is significant. Absolutely, James D. That's a great point.
Agreed, James. And that's part of why I think he belongs on this roster. You can use Bellinger and it's not tipping off the play. I think that's a great point by you, James.
And he's also has the experience as a fullback. And we've seen plays in training camp where they did the fullback leak and he would just run up the seam. And that's something that he does well. George Schmidt, thank you so much. Watch this game on a flight home from Aruba. Ooh, Aruba. Been there. Fun. Was hoping for a live stream to cap off a great week. Well, I'm glad you had fun in Aruba. Russ, Theo, Dart, KT, Burns, Adebo, let's go. Nice. George Schmidt, thank you so much, my man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, George. Jay
Mazzella, 1. Thank you. Fun broadcast and good job. Thanks. Maybe Jets D is bad? Question mark. Could be bad. Dan's smiling about something as he's
because I get roasted in the comments 24/7 on this show, and for the first time ever, I see somebody roasting you, and I'm just cracking up about it. Jason S. Tyler says, "Guys with mustaches like that don't like golf. ... They like pickleball and feet."
Let's do it. I don't like feet. That's gross. Pickleball. I'm more of a tennis guy myself, but yeah, pickleball is like when I get a little older, I think I'll be into pickleball when I can't really do tennis as much. Roast away, baby. John Kirk, thank you so much. Who do you think is playing in the last preseason? Yeah, I don't really want to see many people next week. I just hope
it's a full DeVito game. Just let DeVito play all 4 quarters. I don't need to see anything more.
I like seeing Jameis though.
It's fun to see Jameis, and if he wants to play, let him play. But I don't want to risk him getting injured. I'll just play DeVito, trot DeVito out, and call it a day.
Yeah, thank you, John. Ken Ciofredi, thank you so much. I think Collins can be our new Hodgins. Interesting.
I like that take. Good job, Ken.
Ken's big fan of Ken. Thank you so much, Ken. I don't know if I've seen the route running savvy from Beaux Collins that Isaiah Hodgins had yet.
Yes, completely agree with you on that. Yeah, Isaiah, he's not at that level.
But maybe soon. Who knows? He's just a kid. AFC 5253. Just tuning. Gonna rewind and watch from the beginning.
Thank you. Appreciate that, AFC.
See, we appreciate it. Bear 315. Thank you. If Beaux is for real and Thomas gets injured again this season, would you start the trade talks for Thomas?
This is a tough one. I get asked a lot, and I think a lot of Giants fans have considered this thought process. I know me, I'm very rigid on this. I'm just not going to trade Thomas, and I'll tell you why. I don't believe we're ever going to get fair value in a trade back for Thomas. I know he's injured a lot or has been injured a lot, but I don't care. What am I going to get? A 3rd round pick back for him if I'm lucky, like the way the NFL works, maybe like a conditional pick. Even if you get that at first, let's say you get a 2nd, you're not finding a tackle like Thomas in that range, dude. Tackles that are good in the NFL are mostly drafted up top in a draft class, with the exception of a few.
And he's 26.
Yeah,
he's 20. And we have him locked up through 2029?
We're not trading Thomas. He has to stay healthy, and I hope that this is not something that becomes an issue for him in his career. All he has to do is reset the narrative by playing 17 this year. What are we at? 17 games, yeah. Maybe more if we make the playoffs. Yeah, I'm saying that out loud. All he has to do is play the full season this year, and he'll reset that narrative, and we won't even ask these questions.
The Giants would save $17 million on the cap and only eat 3.8. So contractually they could. I don't want to entertain it because I just think he's too valuable.
So the idea, Nick, would be they see him injured again. Let's say he gets injured again this year, another season ender, and they say, we're ready with Beaux. We feel good about Beaux. Then we re-sign Illuminor. That's the only route. We're not going to let Illuminor and Thomas go. That's a nightmare scenario. Then we're back to square one where we don't have any tackles on this team.
Oh, geez. Don't even put that in front of my face. Paul, thank you so much, Paul R946. And he also asked, what would you humor us with sack predictions for the front 4?
Ooh, that's fun.
I do. We usually do an over-under show right before the season.
We do an over-under
things like this. But just for right now, I can quickly come. Yeah, quickly. Brian Burns is going to get 10.5. Kayvon 8. Dexter 9. And Abdul Carter 11.5. Something like that.
Wow. And I feel like the craziest thing about that prediction, I'll do it on those 4 as well. Craziest thing on that prediction is I feel like you're underselling on almost across the board except Dexter, and not in a bad thing. It's hard to get a lot of sacks, but I feel that's we could get more. So I'm going to go Abdul 13.5. Yeah, that high. Potentially, I feel like he's even going to get more. I like Dex getting in the 8.5 range. So 13.5 Carter, 8.5. Kayvon, 10.5. He eclipses double digits. He's going to have a lot. First of all, I love what I've seen from Kayvon this preseason. I think this is the best version of Kayvon I've seen so far. And I love what Carl Banks said today. He's seeing red. And what he means by that is probably some old school football term that Carl's had from like when he played with those great Giants. Even it's like seeing red means like when everybody's talking about all these other players in the defense, nobody's talking about you, no one believes that you're just like a secondary part. You just get super motivated to show what you really are. I feel like Kayvon has looked good all preseason and looked good in this game. So I'm going to go 10.5 Kayvon. And then Burns, I'm going to go 11. So it's a lot of sacks. I'm predicting
a lot of sacks,
which plus just those guys.
Which would be crazy because Micah's going to have like 2.5. Bobby's going to have like 1.5. Drew Phillips is going to have like 1. Yeah,
league, bro. We should lead the league in sacks.
Could. Again, there's a lot of other variables that go into it that aren't necessarily dependent on just the talent of the front four, but the Giants are in that conversation.
Dude, look at Big Mush's comment.
Where we at, Big Mushy? Big Mush. Oh, dude, there's so many Big Mush comments.
Ron Jeremy is like Dan times 10.
Big Mush with the Bob Ross attitude.
After I watched Jaxson Dart change his arm slot. I would assume after.
Ron Jeremy's crazy. Okay. Jason, thank you so much. Dex makes such a big difference in run D. Roy Robertson Harris has looked good to me, in my opinion, this preseason. Wouldn't mind a Linville Joseph reunion dude. I love Linville Joseph. And
he can agent. What?
He's got to be like 38 though, right?
Well, Linville Joseph age. I thought he's only 36. When I say
he's 36.
Is he nowhere? He's not signed right now.
I mean, I don't know how the last like 2 years of his career has gone. I know he's jumped around on a couple teams.
He looks so big in the most recent picture I see of him on the Eagles. He looks massive.
Like, did he win a chip last year?
Was he? I think no. Didn't he go to I think he went to the Cowboys last. That Eagles was like 2 years ago. Yeah, Cowboys last year. Eagles was 2022.
Oh, that's rough.
Cowboys last year.
I'll say,
yeah.
No, I don't hate the idea just to even give him like a shot, right? And if he doesn't make it, he doesn't make it. But at this point, I would have hoped that he would have came into training camp to see if he could earn his spot and like he's a free agent. He's not doing anything right now, right? And I don't even know if he's in shape to play. But Roy Robertson Harris, you're right. I think he's had a solid preseason. He kind of got pushed around a little bit in training camp, though, in some of those practices. Just a note that like he's not somebody I look at and be like, oh, he has our run defense solidified, right? I'm a little tentative to say that. And then Bird 67, thank you. I'm trying to temper my excitement, but you guys make it fun. Thank you so much. We're here to try to make it fun. We're here to have a good time and be objective about the team that we all love. So that's what Dan and I do.
Yep. Thank you so much for everybody who got involved tonight in the comments, made this really fun. This was probably, in my opinion, the most fun live show that I think we've ever done. Very good comment section tonight. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please leave more comments. Share this with your friends so they can, view it and maybe become fans of the show and listeners. Otherwise, have a great rest of your night. It's late. What is it, 11:30 now? And we'll come back to you Monday morning. Maybe it'll end up being the afternoon, but around sometime in the morning, afternoon range with the All-22 review. My hope is that I get it faster this week, Nick. I was very disappointed in the speed of them releasing my All-22 last week. I say that as like a first world problem, but still, I want to watch this tape. This tape specifically, I want to watch. I'm hoping to get it tomorrow day.
Yeah, and the same here. We got one more. Zariah, thank you so much, says, if Dart ends up playing this year, would that signal Dable and Shane losing their jobs? Have to imagine Mara has a win. I don't think Mara has a win requirement, and I don't think if Dart plays that signals that Dable, and that could signal the opposite. It really just depends on the variables of what's going on with that specific situation of why Dart is playing. I think things got to fall apart for Dable and Shane to lose it. I think Mara is going to give them another year unless this like bottoms out, and then they would be gone. Like if it's another 2024 type season, then I think they're gone. But I don't know if that's going to happen. But we'll see.
I mean, the thing for me, Nick, is like there are scenarios I'm starting to see, like the way that Dart looks, if he continues to look this great, I see some scenarios where it's like they're not losing their job if they're playing Dart. It's that they feel they could win games if Dart is in over Russ, which is not an impossibility right now. Dart offers things that now look, Russ is probably a better option for the Giants right now because he's seen a lot. He's not going to get confused by defenses when you look, because remember with Dart in the preseason, it's looked amazing, but we're going against teams that aren't scheming to stop Dart or scheming to pressure him or scheming to confuse him with post-snap safety rotations and things along the likes. Russ is definitely a more advanced quarterback. But there are things that Dart does that Russ can't do right now. Throw over the middle of the field, right? Move in the pocket better. Maybe he has a liver arm for some areas of the field as well. So with all that said, there could come a point, Nick, where our defense is balling and we're like 3-3 or something, or 2-4. And Dable says, I think we have a better chance. And let's say it's like we're losing games like 17-14 or something.
Yeah.
Dable might come to the conclusion that I have a better chance to win with Dart. And so if Dart's then playing, that doesn't mean they're going to lose their job. It means they've turned the corner and they've turned the page to putting their guy in, their future in now.
Yeah. Hey, I'm right there with you, man. So that's where I'm at as well. And again, we'll evaluate it as it comes.
Yep. And thanks again to everybody listening in. We will talk to you Monday. Have a great rest of your night.